Hello everybody, this is Mariana. I'm back here on my channel, The Vibes Inside, to bring you a new moon reading in the sign of Scorpio. I'm actually a bit late. It was yesterday, 13th of November, that it was like really new, but you could say the portal is open for 3 days, so you still have 2 more to go. And if you want to make a new manifestation, or if you feel that there's some energies coming in that you want to work a little more with, so let's have a look. We could say that new moons can start a new beginning of something. They can start like a new chapter in your life. They can start maybe a profound, deep, intuitive, passionate new chapter in your life, because Scorpio is like that. Scorpio is said to talk about death, rebirth, transformation. So there can be something about like ending a chapter of something to start something entirely different, or becoming aware of it. Scorpio can be known also as like the deep dark. We don't know exactly what that is going to bring. There can be a lot of like very strong emotions attached to this new moon. Scorpio is also known for like the raw, very authentic love. A love that is almost so scary that we run away from it, because it embodies us totally, and we can't escape it, right? It becomes like like inbuilt in us. So if you meet a person who kind of has that effect on you, it is, like it almost feels like a bit of an invasion. So sometimes Scorpio wants a deep love like that, and at the same time fears it. Deep devotion, maybe deep, strong. There can be very passionate feelings here as well. And we know that the more, you could say, rigid side of Scorpio could be obsessive, could be devouring. That's a word I sometimes use about Scorpio, right? It can be obsessive, devouring, domineering, controlling. So we will see what comes from this, right? You put it into your situation and see how it unfolds for you. So we start with the middle card here. I chose the moon cards that I have. They are called the Priestess of Light card, oracle cards. So I hope you can see this card. It is a bit brownish, right? It says setting boundaries, threshold, protection, and honor. Setting boundaries. So maybe it's a time to set those boundaries. Somehow I get the feeling also of like, it's like when you look at her, right? She has her hands, we can see those white spots here. It's almost like how it comes across today. It's almost like she stands, with a window, and she has her hands on it. So we can see, like the warmth of her hands here, touching that window. It's like she's looking back at something. Something she has now set like strong boundaries to, and she is on the other side of something. she may look back, you know, like to honor it, like knowing that I'm yeah, threshold. I'm entering something new, which I protect, and at the same time I honor where I come from. I think it's something about, you know, like not slamming the door, like that you don't want to walk away from something and then slam the door to it and hate it, right? And hate can be also associated with scorpionic energy, like it can go that deep and become that revengeful and hateful and but somehow I get like today it comes across a bit like she stands there, right? And she looks back at it. And at the same time she knows she's on the other side. Like she has made that step to the other side, and there's this window, right? It's like she's looking through a window, looking back at her life, where she was maybe like living in a certain way. It could be the other way around, that you know, like that you stand in the life that you still have, but and then there's, it seems like a window to into your future, and you stand here and look at it, right? So this depends on where you may be in your on your timeline, if this resonates with you, like, and of course setting boundaries can literally be that you set boundaries with someone, or you need to set boundaries in order for you to actually honor yourself and move forward. So there could be a situation where you have to say stop to something, right? Because it's not right, it's not aligned with your soul, right? We have the tiger here with her, right? It's like you feel like at this time you could be protected. There's someone there with you to lend you power, to, you know, like make the necessary steps, or align with the new stuff in your life that you may need or that you want, right? That this is something that you want. It could even be that maybe you're not sure you want it. Like Scorpio is associated with the death card, so this could be like a goodbye. You know, like to some kind of existence. Like a rather finite goodbye. And then moving on to now the next here. So, you know, again, this feeling of like standing just for, and just look at it again. Like the honor feeling can be this idea of what have I learned from this situation? What can I take with me from this situation as a soul, as a person? What did this kind of life teach me? Now where I stand and am willing to, or is about to make another step. You know, like this setting boundaries can be even to the point where you finish something, you stop something. As I said, the death card, right? It can be that you have to set boundaries and stop something in your life because it's really not serving you. Like to honor yourself and the path you're on, you have to stop a certain behavior. I heard Teal Swan the other day. She was mentioning a very good question we can always ask ourselves if we feel that something is wrong in our lives. She said, what kind of behavior does your adult self have? What kind of situations, behavior, maybe work, relationships, social settings are you involved in as an adult person that your inner child would cry over? Like if you consult your inner child, what are you doing today that is actually, that would make them cry? I thought it was a rather good question actually. And so I'm just passing it on here for you. Actually, I feel like it could be because, well, it could be a good exercise at this time with Scorpio because Scorpio is about the deep, like the raw, deep, vulnerable self that is experiencing something. And it even takes us, like to childhood. The things that we have in childhood, that we adored, that we loved, that we appreciated, that we, like we were maybe obsessive or protective about it. And now you're living an adult life where you make decisions that actually contradict that, right? And it's that kind of feeling that that you can ask yourself, are you doing something today that your inner child is crying over, is exhausted over, is terrified about, and so on, And then become very clear if you want to continue that, right? Otherwise, you are the one who has to set up a boundary here. And I feel like if there's a behavior that is, like threatening you in some way, or that your inner child is reacting to strongly and negatively, setting up those boundaries will probably be preferable. And right, I feel like there's help here, there's support to do this. But it could have this feeling of like a finite kind of, like when I choose this, it's like there is no in between or gray zone. It's like either or. Again, the death card is not like either maybe I live or I don't. Like it's that kind of clear cut. Either it is or it isn't, right? That's kind of also, I feel like, the message of Scorpio. It's masculine water energy, like it's and it's emotional, very deep, very passionate, very very intuitive, sensitive, and with very, I feel like, very strong, committed, like love connections, right? It wants something that is profoundly deep, and it must resonate deeply. That's Scorpio people, right? Otherwise, it's out of alignment. It's and there can be all kinds of reactions to that, right? All kinds of reactions when we get hurt or when we get betrayed or something. Then you can have a variety of reactions to that, which are not necessarily even healthy or good for you, but there could be this ripple effect after something. And somehow I still have this feeling of like a glass, that someone is either looking back at something, figuring out what they have learned, and then, you know, they could turn around and then look through another glass, or that looks into the future. And the future takes into account what decision you've made. What is the decision that changes everything from what it was to where you're going now? And in order to go that way, you may need to set boundaries. You may need to become more clear with yourself what you definitely do not want to have around you at this point in time, while you are maybe rebirthing something here or changing something. Okay, let's see here. So I have Diana, Queen of the Wilderness. The language of the natural world is a frequency of love. This is my mother tongue. Mother tongue. Well, there could be something about, you know, like, let's say you grew up in let's say you grew up in Spain, so your mother tongue would be Spanish, and you live in another country today. Then I feel like there could be something about either returning, you know, or the opposite, that you are leaving Spain to explore New York, right? The language of the natural world is a frequency of love. The wilderness, it also, Queen of the Wilderness, and she is portrayed as an archer here, with a bow and arrow. Yeah, so as I feel like there could be a I feel archer, not necessarily hunter, right? But archer. And again, the archer can be part of the setting boundaries here, that you have something available here that is helping you to maybe set down those boundaries. Queen of the Wilderness and natural world. Somehow I get nature here, right? Connecting with nature, like being out there among the trees, the open, wide fields and forests. I get a feeling of like like camp life, you know, like in a tent out in the woods, where it's quiet, just natural sounds. I get a feeling a bit of primitive here, also, like maybe away from a sense of luxury, needing a time away from, you know, traffic noise, and this can be something about fresh air, natural noises, you know, forest smells. In the upper hemisphere right now where I live, we have winter coming, right? So right now it's starting to become more cold, more rainy, more it's not that accommodating maybe for nature life, but it could be that you live somewhere else, and it is definitely impossible, definitely possible. The language of the natural world is a frequency of love. This is my mother tongue. So there is something about the like love frequency here as a means of communication. So like when we send an arrow of communication through the air, there can be a focus on something kind here, right? Something loving and kind and considerate. And this is the mother tongue, right? That this can also be a new beginning, that maybe you realize something about the way you communicate. And well, an archer here, like the way she communicates can be, like she sends like the arrow swiftly through the air. So this can be like a quick incoming or sending of like very, you could say, clear communication, but clear loving communication here, right? It could be something about, as I said, like when she was on the other side of the window, maybe this communication wasn't possible. This is called the Divine Feminine Oracle deck. So we could talk about, communication with maybe your higher self, stronger intuition, Queen of the Wilderness, right? She's somehow able to navigate wilderness. So this can be a helper, right? That is present to help us say goodbye to something here and start something new. But again, the wilderness feeling is when we're not sure, right? When we feel, like maybe like having brain fog, we are not sure what to do. We're not sure which way to go. And I think a spiritual journey can definitely take us in places like that. Again, Scorpio is also known to be the like non-form, something that doesn't have a manifested form, or it doesn't have a manifested form yet. It's still in a molding process somehow. It's still in a creative process. So it hasn't been produced yet, or it hasn't shown up yet. It's not in a physical form. So the setting boundaries here can be that you have to, to have those very clear information here. You set the boundaries to the things in your life that are not right for you, so that you kind of, you purify your base. You purify your life from the things that prohibit you from hearing this one. Because I think when she sends her arrow, it's quite clear cut. Like if you get like a feeling of downloads or epiphanies or something during this time, I think it could be, like quite clear cut actually. But in order for you to actually hear it and pick it up, you may need to like shield yourself from something that like pollutes your world. Does that make sense? So I want to say I get earth energy from this, right? I get maybe air also with the arrow. I get a natural world, love frequency, mother tongue. Again, something earthy, something. I feel like I get Capricorn from this energy also. Like Capricorn is like an energy. I've said it before on my channel. Like the time of the year of the Capricorn season is very dark. There is not much sunlight to kind of light off your path where you go. So she would be a queen of the wilderness, right? She would be the queen of finding your path, even though you don't have much help, you would say. You don't have sunlight help to show the way for you. But she has become a master of navigating that world, right? She has adapted to it. And she stands with like the love frequency, having enormous love for the world that she rules as a queen here. We could say that, well, setting boundaries can be, of course, like to have more connection with someone here, but it could also be that you set boundaries towards this one. So maybe be mindful at this time whether you have your defenses up against something that actually could be loving. Right? What step are you taking during this time? If something shows up and actually wants to offer you something, are you rejecting it? I want to say, it says here, natural world. It could be that maybe you meet someone. Maybe someone is around you. I don't know, somewhere randomly around you, and they show up with a certain like kindness. How do you respond to that? Be mindful at this time whether you can actually. Are you shoving them away, or are you realizing you would want that and then maybe considering not to do it, right? Because this can be like a behavioral style. This can be a style that you have in your way of behaving. Your attachment style, perhaps. So here I have third eye chakra, pineal perspective. Again, pineal gland, third eye. The pineal gland is at the back of your head. The pineal gland is between your eyebrows, but the pineal gland connects with your, I believe it's called the seal chakra, and that is on the back of your head. When these work together, you will have a clearer, you would say, intuition. I want to say third eye chakra it can show up in certain ways, right? It is in the area of your eyebrows, your sight. Maybe there could be something about your eyes at this time. Blurred vision, maybe more more itchy eyes, or feeling more tired, and maybe your eyes react, like to sunlight or artificial light more, being more sensitive to that. Um, and therefore you may also need to set up more boundaries, that you can, like maybe join the same social settings. Maybe you feel like you have to rest more, you have to like take a pause, take downtime, rest. That whatever is happening is affecting, you could say, your head. Maybe you are taking in more information. Maybe your clairvoyance is becoming a little more active, if you have that, or you're developing it, and it stresses maybe your brain a bit, to handle different kinds of information. You may need to put your boundaries up because you have to adapt to it. Like your brain, your body, it's a different vibrational energy. You have to adapt to it. And the best way of doing that is downtime, that you prioritize to rest and say no, maybe here, to certain social settings. That's not uncommon in like a social a spiritual awakening or a soul search path, that we have to sometimes say goodbye to the best friends or put boundaries up towards them because they don't get what's going on here. Again, maybe you have downloads at this time, and maybe there are people that you meet randomly, you don't know them, and they may show up with like a certain frequency. It could even be like this mother tongue. There could be something about maybe light language here for some. But somehow I come across, I know it's the divine feminine card here, right? But somehow I get also a feeling that like this is like a person. So this is not necessarily not only to be seen as an angel or an ancestor, or maybe a part of yourself that is, I feel like it's a person here. Can we have a card on the Diana here? That it could manifest as a person here. I feel like I need one more here, because it's slipped. Let me just have a look at it. I get the Hangman here. It looks like this, but the card flipped, and so I need another one. So the Hangman here. I want to say Hangman and Diana doesn't really go well together, because the Archer is something swift. Like when she sends an arrow here, it's very swift and very quick. So I just take a minute to look at this. Interesting. It's like I'm drawn to the coins that kind of fall out of his pockets here. haven't really noticed that before somehow. It feels actually it feels a little bit like, well, the hangman is usually someone who well, they put themselves in the hangman position to look for answers. So like they go on a search, or they start maybe a pilgrimage, like they are seekers somehow. They go within, they put themselves in a stagnant position, and then they go within and look for answers. But here it feels almost like someone is wasting their time here. Like sitting here and looking for certain answers is a waste of time, like you're losing something by doing this. Or you shouldn't stay here for long, right? And then this idea that he's kind of tied up in something. Being tied up in something, and then it's like being tied up in something, in like a search. Being tied up in search is a waste of time. It's like you're losing something by staying here for too long. Maybe that's what the message of the Queen here is, that if you look for answers, or if you let me just get another card on the hangman here. Let's see. So I get Goddess of the Moon here. Again, I get this feeling of like being occupied with if you are occupied with your losses perhaps, or your moon energy is, well, it can be rather sad emotions sometimes with the moon energy. There could be secrets, hidden information. There could be maybe, I want to say, even betrayal and things that happen that have that kind of nature to it. And it feels a little bit like someone has been juggling this, and it's like if you hang here too long, like first of all, it's like you get very ungrounded. It's like he hangs over Earth here in the sky, right? You lose touch with like the earthy realm, and it's like you're wasting your time. Like you waste your time on, I hear, cosmic speculation. Again, she's the queen of wilderness, and it makes sense if we feel lost somehow. If we feel like we are in the wilderness, we can't get out. Sometimes we do go and look for answers. Maybe you go to, like an astrologist or a clairvoyant or someone We want them to give us some kind of answers. It's almost like when you hang in that, it's just waste of time and money here. You waste your money and time on the wilderness, like that you are somehow supposed to not have that wilderness. Like the wilderness is there for you to figure out how to come through it, the forest is there for you to, it's like a computer game, right? It's like you stand in front of a new realm and you're supposed to go in, find your way through it and get out again. Right? But sometimes it feels very uncomfortable, like that we don't want that new round perhaps. Maybe we want to just stay in the round we know, but that's the point, that there is a beginning of, there is a possible beginning of something, an invitation to something. But again, as I said, it's like she stands with this window and she looks in at the new round perhaps here. Or she looks at the round that she just entered out of. And it's just, like, what kind of mess, right? What kind of mess I was in. Oh my God, I'm so happy this is over. Or I can see how far I've moved. I can see how far I come along. I'm almost done, right? And it's like she's here, like trying to be a helper through this wilderness, where you don't know, you don't have the answers, you feel sometimes also not guided, not helped, not guided. Maybe you, in the wilderness here, you have rejection, maybe door closes in front of you, right? The things you try to do, it just closes or rejects you, and you have to like still move through a wilderness here. But it also, I feel like, says that we can become so caught up in it, like the things that are wrong, that the wilderness is something that is wrong in your life. A spiritual awakening will be a wilderness. It's not a straight, easy path forward where you can see all like all decision paths, all available paths in front of you, and you can see the end goal of all of them. No, it will be a wilderness. And we can be caught up in like that the wilderness is a problem, that it's not supposed to be there, that has to go away. We have to solve it quickly, right? Maybe the hangman here can be something like, going to a clairvoyant and asking them for help because you feel stuck, and you pay something here to it. Every time you pay something, but you don't really get further. Maybe you do, but I just get the feeling with this card, it's like, don't get too tied up in this. And every time we go to a clairvoyant or it's because it feels like they know more than us. Like because they can see something or hear something or feel something or read cards or read astrology or whatever it is. It's like we go to some kind of teacher or some kind of person who seems to know. They seems to know something, which is great. Of course we can do that, and probably you will learn something. It's just don't get caught in it. I think, like, don't get caught in the fact that you don't know anything. You do know something. If you follow your intuition here, you will get there. Eventually you will get there, maybe not as fast as you would like, and maybe it will show you a place, a direction that you had never thought would be the one for you. Right? I'm just saying that, like Diana here, the Queen of the Wilderness is a guide in that muddy realm, in that muddy pool. And she is a help here to somehow help you through, to master the maze of this wilderness here. But not to make you feel stuck, right? The mastery comes also with a sense of feeling that you are getting closer, like you can feel you're getting closer to something. Maybe you're not there yet. You can feel the difference if you are going in a good direction or a bad direction for you. That's what she's saying, right? That you can, of course, you can listen to a tarot reader or as I'm doing here, but like the real progress or the real growth comes within you. That you can feel that you are going in a direction that is helping you. And maybe the direction that you're going towards is not at all what you thought. Again, you have free will here on earth, so you can choose not to go there. But in the mother tongue of love here, there could be something to be gained. Okay, can we have a card on the third eye here? So I get Lakshmi here, beautiful card for the third eye chakra here. It says the goddess of abundance. I choose to feel abundant. Wealth is an inside job. And it's interesting how it says wealth here, and I talk about how I see the coins are kind of just falling out of his pocket here, right? So there could be a feeling of, like an understanding or an opening, a direction, a course, a path that somehow feels right to follow. And it could actually lead you to a more abundant life. Wealth can be part of it, but abundance can be many things, right? Abundance can be that you can be able to buy all the things you would like, so you have the money to do that, the financial security. But abundance can be about family. It can be or the feeling of true family, a loving environment. It can be the feeling that you have found the love of your life, or you have found like the true passion in your life, the true life direction, or something like that. That is rewarding to feel like that. And somehow I'm drawn to like the lotus that she has in her hand here. Like it's almost like something with the pineal gland here, with the third eye awakening or opening. It could be like the feeling that something is, like opening itself up, starts blossoming more or being more I feel like visible, actually more visible. and it's situated right around her heart chakra. There could be something that becomes, like a light that kind of becomes visible. But it could be the feeling that it opens your heart, that something opens your heart here in a different way. And when that happens, you become more connected with what is. The universe. So I feel like Diana is here to kind of say that, like, this is a bit, this energy is a bit, like boxed in, and it is concerned about the problems, not about what could be and what is here. As again, it says here, I choose to feel abundant. When we choose to feel, it's not that we are not aware that something could feel not abundant, but we choose to feel abundant instead of the opposite, where this feels more like choosing to feel lack, or choosing to be in a feeling of being derailed and not knowing what to do, and not knowing, like not having what it takes. I get almost like from this reading, it's almost like this card is asking you, what do you want to set your boundaries towards? Do you want to set your boundaries towards being, you could say, in a spiritual trap here, where you feel like, I'm in this wilderness, I can't seem to figure it out. And I'm trying to push it, right? I'm trying to push it forward. I go to healers, I go to clairvoyants, I use a lot of money on this. I invest in stuff, I become more ungrounded, or I focus on the problem here. The moon, the secrets, the lies, the maybe like hidden parts of yourself, forgotten parts of yourself. There could be grief here, and pain and sorrow and shame and yeah, of course you can be very masterful in, like being someone who doesn't shy away from your own feelings and so on, but it just feels restricted to me, and a bit like a trap, a spiritual trap, that you could somehow become so absorbed with the problems of something, or like this idea that I don't feel healed, so I must continue to somehow be healed. I must continue to book therapy lessons and healings. I must continue to go into the deep dark here of Scorpio, perhaps, right? I must continue to do this until I feel this ta-da epiphany that opens, so that I get out of the wilderness. I think that the wilderness is just part of it. And it's part of the path. Some do not have an illuminated path in front of them. There can be a reason why the wilderness is here. Maybe you're supposed to use that wilderness later on, right? That when you get through this wilderness, you have learned something. And that you can take with you, right? It's something you can You can even, like realize I am actually trapped in the wilderness. I keep thinking that there's something more to be done, or I don't feel whole, or I don't feel like I'm at the end line where now I'm, like now the epiphany comes, or now I am showered with all these new enlightenment feelings, or now the abundance finally arrives. It's like the feeling that I have to be completely and utterly healed, and everything, that there must be no wilderness feeling, otherwise I can have abundance. But here it's like it says you can, like you can choose it. If you choose to feel abundant, it's like you are directing your eyes to something else. So instead of thinking, I'm in this muddy pool and I don't know how to get out, it would be something like, I'm in a muddy pool and I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm grateful for what I learn, and let's see what happens, right? I'm learning to adapt to the muddy pool, right? I'm abundant in the fact that I am right in the middle of this. And if you trust in like a divine path and so on, you know that you will somehow be led through it. But you can also stagnate in the feeling that there's something wrong with you still, or there's something that is unhealed, or not done, or not figured out, or not where this is more like an open choice, right? That it kind of says, if I choose to feel abundant, that's up to me what I feel, what I choose to feel. I can feel abundant even though I live in like very small environment. Maybe I feel abundant or happy and content and grateful for the things I have, instead of constantly wondering about the things I want to have. Something we want and we feel like never comes closer to us. It's like it's always these steps ahead of you if we keep wanting it. If we choose to say it's already here, you're actually aligning yourself more and more with it. It may not go fast, it may not be here and now, it may not be tomorrow, but you're actually aligning yourself more and more with it if you're telling yourself it's already here. Okay, I want a card on the setting boundaries here as well also. So I get the Page of Earth here. So the page can usually be a young energy, like this can be a child, like it could be your child. Maybe you're setting boundaries for your child. Maybe you're setting boundaries for your inner child. As I said with this teal swan question, what are you doing as an adult that is making your inner child cry? And this is earthy, so it could be practical things. It could be the things you work with. It could be like practical things you are involved in your daily life. It could be any kind of obligations you have in the earthly realm here. Like to make your inner child blossom, you would say, open here and blossom and feel abundant in this life. What are you supposed to set boundaries towards, or change, or create new here? And maybe it's yourself, right? Maybe you are the creation here. Like this could be your voice, right? It could be what you say. Maybe you quit your job. Maybe you move out of a relationship. Maybe you you choose to move back to Spain, or you choose to move to New York, right? Or you like setting boundaries is usually also like a feeling of protection, right? I set these boundaries to kind of protect something. So protect something that is in you, that is maybe molding, right? It could be something like this, can literally be someone having a pregnancy where they have to put up boundaries here towards outside influence because they want to take care of themselves, right? But it could also like be the feeling that like something in you is telling you when something is not good for you, I think, right? When it's not good for you, they are speaking here. You can ask them. Like you can ask them, this situation or this job, is this in alignment with my inner child and what my inner child loves to do? What it likes, what it's fascinated by, what it's motivated by, inspired by, what is fun or easy and lighthearted and interesting for your inner child here. And then when you will instantly have a feeling or reaction or a thought maybe, and you will instinctively somehow know if it's in alignment with you or not. And that's your answer. Then you know where to put the boundaries. At least if you want to live a more authentic life, a more like maybe a more kind and loving life here. That is not tied up in like old stories and lack and the feeling that, because this card, how it comes across today is, like someone who is a seeker. And when you are a seeker and you don't feel you have the answers yourself, we like to find someone who knows, like some kind of mentor or teacher, spiritual teacher or religious teacher maybe, or maybe a healer or something. That's when we don't know and we feel like there is no compass guiding us. Then it's nice to have someone who does, right? Who knows something, but you can just waste a lot of money on that. Because when you ask your inner child, you get the answer. Sometimes, if a child answers, it's maybe immature, maybe it's not nuanced, right? It's not put into an adult world of thoughts and ways of conducting life, right? You will get maybe a bit of an immature response sometimes, but the point is that it comes from a loving place, like a self-loving place. and that is to be considered. Because if you are still doing a lot of things that is not in alignment with your inner child, that is why you feel the wilderness. That's why you spend all the money on healing. That's why you're not, like, it's because it's like you have two opinions in you. You have the opinion of the inner child, and you have the opinion of your adult, maybe egoic, egoic perhaps, but also pressured adult opinion. It's like you have two, and maybe they're not aligning with each other. This is why you have the wilderness. Like there is no coherence between what you truly, deeply, internally want and what will make you happy and what you're actually doing. I hope this makes sense somehow, but I feel like that could be a thing here to consider. And you can spend a lot of money on healing and, all this stuff, but it won't take away the fact that you are living a life where you make decisions and act in certain ways that make your inner child unhappy. The true you unhappy. And as long as you continue that kind of life, you will have the wilderness. Because there's no coherence between what you actually deep down feel and what you are doing. Does it make sense? I hope it makes sense. Can we have one more card, please? I feel like about the setting boundaries here. Okay, so I get thunder here. Yeah. Well, thunder is an interesting card because it shows these bison oxes like running over the savannah here. And we know it makes a lot of noise. So there could be something about noise here. Like maybe you need to be careful about noise. It could be that what you are actually figuring out here, like what you're realizing when you have this dialogue, is creating a thunder headache, right? Is creating almost a feeling of like a meltdown, noise in your head, right? Because what you are realizing is that, or even you could say, thunder can be anger here. It can be, messy and noisy, right? In your mind. That's something. This can be a message, right? Maybe you have to become very loud about your setting boundaries here. Maybe you have to become very, very loud to set the boundaries so that you can actually follow the path that may be right for you. Maybe you need to speak up and you have to do it like very loud. Like a herd of bison oxes here, right? Not like, or when I say loud, I mean very loud and clear, right? There must be no confusion. Like the recipient of this, the one you set your boundaries towards, must not ever be able to doubt what you are saying. But the thunder can also be like the feeling of like a giant headache. Like, oh my God, I'm living my life in total disagreement with my inner self. And that is, you know, like a feeling of like a meltdown, right? That I live my life perhaps not at all in alignment with whom I truly am. So that creates now a lot of thunder in your life, right? It creates like maybe a feeling of like a brutal wake-up call, a loud one. It can be that when you set your boundaries, the reactions are very loud. Maybe they want to push you back into what you were, and they want you to align with a certain, life you had, or you currently still have, perhaps. And the change, like the change that is needed, perhaps here, is loud. It speaks volumes, right? And you have to face that. Yeah, I get now the 7 of Raphael here. The card says, time to make a decision. Be clear on what you want and take action. A need for detoxification. Yeah, setting boundaries, get yourself away from something that is toxic, or, as I said, polluted pool. It's time to make a decision, and that decision can be like, like create a bit of a headache here. Or others may feel like the decision you make is like, maybe it gives them headache. Or the decision you make speaks volumes, as I said. It could be like, you make a decision that is perhaps like really, really life altering. In the sense that the people who know you, like maybe they have never ever seen you make a decision like that before. Maybe they can't even understand what it is that you are about to do. Again, you can choose a different life, right? You can choose to feel differently about the situation you're in. It's easy to be angry with the world, or whatever we are experiencing here. I just feel like the dissonance that can come from an adult life that is not in alignment with the inner child, the dissonance creates this wilderness. And even though you may be a queen of that wilderness, you could still have been using a lot of money on healing, and you have maybe been sitting in a lot of, I don't know, dark night of the souls kind of type of energy. And it's like, it's very easy. You can simply ask that question. You will get some kind of answer. And maybe it will be an answer that, like, if you truly choose yourself, it's time to make that decision. Even though it creates thunder for yourself, maybe in your own life. Let's say you want to quit your job then, but you have a family to support, right? So what to do now? And that could be the headache here, right? That what am I supposed to do? It will have a ripple effect. It will somehow create like distortion, right? There is a potential, you could say, We could have quarrels here, right? That is loud quarrels here. You can even quarrel with yourself here. Um, Thunder can be the feeling that people may be aggressive towards you. Like that's the, like that's the thing, that's what you receive when you set your boundaries, that you kind of, you receive some kind of reaction, and that reaction can feel like they are literally roaring in my head, right? They are roaring with like thunder, you could say, volume. Or, as I said, the other way around, maybe you need to roar with thunder volume for something to be heard, like with the boundaries here. Yeah, but it's definitely, it says here, time to make a decision on what you want to do. When you realize something here, when you ask that question and you realize, oh, there is this dissonance, and when there is this dissonance, that's when I'm here. If I clear up this dissonance and I start to take action that is in alignment with me, I will have more of this perhaps here, right? So now I get for the third eye chakra and Lakshmi here, I get messenger of air. So this could be the feeling of like strong intuition, very connected with potentially the upper realm, higher self. Again, higher self is like an extended, or extended. I want to say the inner child is like an extended version of the higher self. Like the inner child always knows. You can have a gut feeling when you ask yourself, right? This work that I'm doing every day from 9 to 5, is it actually in alignment with it? You will instantly have a response. And sometimes you would even know the answer before you ask it, right? Because you know that even if you start asking, it's probably because you're not happy with it. The child is interested in something that is playful and fun and easy going. So that's usually what the child would go for. Something that they find interesting. Maybe as a child, maybe you spend a lot of time in nature, earth here. You spend a lot of time in nature. Maybe you like that. Maybe you like the grass and the flowers and all the smells and the sun, like the feeling of the sun on your skin, and maybe the freedom of nature. And today you sit in an office and you do accounting, right? Maybe these two don't really go well together. Or it's definitely important to balance it then, that you have some of this also in your life. Messenger of air is it's thoughts. It could be the feeling of telepathy. It could be the feeling of communication, downloads, maybe epiphanies, um, information that shows you where alignment is, like that the alignment between the inner child and the adult, everyday life. There could be information coming here, right? That is helpful in order for you to maybe set the boundaries and make some changes. I feel like the messenger of air is also like a trust thing. That do you trust me? Like, do you trust me to follow what I'm asking of you here, right? I'm asking something of you here. Do you trust that enough to set the boundaries? Maybe, as I said, maybe quit your job, maybe move out, maybe, I don't know. Do you trust me enough to do that? To align more with what your inner child actually wants, even though it may create ripple effects here. This is what I have. New moon in Scorpio. I have several placements in the 8th house with this, which is Scorpio, and I have a Jupiter in Scorpio. So I have felt this incoming alignment. First of all, the square between Uranus and Mars. I felt that very strongly, and then now also this new moon in Scorpio is definitely trying to like show me a path forward. I'm quite interesting to follow that. I'm interested to see where it takes me. And it is actually something I have not considered in my life. But I can feel the peace when I do. There's such a relief about that feeling. So and that's also a thing, like if you can literally feel that there is a peace or there is a feeling of joy coming, then it has this love element to it. And that's another guideline, right? That like seekers always wants to come out of a problem and into something better. So we also have to like become aware of when something feels better, and then actually literally align with it. Trust it, right? Otherwise, we're still just doing the things we normally do and expect something new to come. Okay, I hope this helps somehow. Please take care of yourself, everybody out there. And breathe and rest and rejuvenate during this time. Go deep if you feel like you need to do that. Or if you have Scorpio strong in your chart, you will probably already be quite good at this. You will be able to feel the things that come up, and you just ask the question, right? Take care of yourself, everybody. I send you my very best love and light to all of you. Bye-bye.